Hello everyone, this is Ravi Teja and Shobhit Aggarwal, and in this video we are going to present about the security in smart grids, the threats and solutions. So what is a grid? A grid in general refers to the electric or power grid which has a network of transmission lines, substations, transformers, etc. And these grids deliver the electricity from the power plants to our homes and businesses. So what makes these grids smart? With the advent of technology, these grids are made into smart grids. A smart grid provides two-way communication between the supply utility and the customers. There will be sensors placed all along the transmission lines which sense the proper working and proper transmission. The application of digital processing techniques to the grid enables the data flow information management with the grid at the center. The usage data, the transmission details, the failure details, everything will be collected and processed. And based on the results, the grid will be modified and the functionality of the grid will be modified. So what makes a smart grid better than the normal grid? The smart grid provides reliability. The technology used improves the fault detection, and thanks to the sensors placed all along the transmission lines, it allows self-healing of the network without the intervention of the technicians. It also gives flexibility in the distribution generation, like from different sources like hydroelectric power, wind turbines, or solar panels, etc. It also gives efficiency. By providing load balancing, the total load, in general, the total load may vary significantly sometimes. And during the peak situations, standby generators are used. The algorithms in the smart grids predict the peak times and also the number of generators needed at those times. And also at the peak times, the smart grids may also warn the customers to reduce the consumption. There are also some threats for these smart grids. The smart grids are mostly online to enable the communication with the customers and to collect data, and this makes them vulnerable to cyber attacks like the malware, worms, etc. The DOS attacks, integrity attacks, and desynchronization attacks are possible on these smart grids. These attacks may lead to service disruption, electricity theft, and also sometimes information theft. One such example of a cyber attack is the Ukraine power grid cyber attack which took place on the December 23rd of 2015. It is the first known cyber attack on a power grid. More than 30 substations were switched off and about 230,000 people were left without electricity for a period of 1 to 6 hours. 3 distribution companies' information systems have been compromised by the hackers, which are later assumed to be the Russians. The hacked SCADA, or the Supervisory Control and Data Acquisition, which is a type of industrial control system, and it's commonly used in the power station. The hackers hacked the SCADA to switch off the power supply. So how exactly they hacked the system? It all began with the spear phishing emails to gather information to the employees at the distribution companies. And using those emails, they gathered information like password, etc. They then deployed malicious softwares into the systems and took over the SCADA components. They then disabled the IT components and thus stopped the power supply. They also performed the DOS attack on the call centers and thus denying the information to the users.
Now let's discuss how the attacks could have been prevented. The attacks on industrial control systems are not instantaneous, but it takes several months for the attack to occur, which gives many opportunities to detect or disrupt the attack. There were different ways by which the attacks could have been prevented. The first one is the network security monitoring. It is collection, analysis, and escalation of indication and warnings to detect and respond to intrusions. Behavior analytics. In cybersecurity, behavior analytics is defined as the tools to detect patterns of data transmissions in the network that are out of the norm. The tools would detect the anomaly and cyber attacks can be prevented. Third one is SCADA aware firewalls. By implementing firewalls, which prevents unauthorized remote access of SCADA systems, cyber attacks can be prevented. Then there comes the email gateways. An email security gateway monitors emails being sent to an organization for unwanted content and prevent these messages from being delivered. Now let us discuss some other security measures that can be used to protect smart grids from cyber attacks. So the first one is data security. The provider or the cybersecurity expert should implement security requirements in order to protect the information on smart grid information systems. Procedures for handling and storage of information should be established to protect this information from unauthorized disclosure or misuse. Then account management. The provider should establish and maintain system, groups, and user accounts on smart grid information systems. Then the logical access control. The provider should enforce logical access to authorized entities on smart grid information systems and security parameters, which include rules that grant or deny access to known users based on their roles. Then the secure remote access. The provider should establish and maintain secure remote access where applicable to smart grid information systems. Now, secure network segregation. The provider should establish and maintain a segregated network for smart grid information system. Where applicable and technically feasible, the network infrastructure of process control should be divided into multiple zones with different functions and protection requirements. Now, the secure network communications. The provider should establish and maintain secure communication across the segregated network. There are several ongoing initiatives to secure smart grids. The European Commission set up a task force for implementing smart grids. The European Commission also created an ad hoc expert group to better understand the views and objectives of ICT security for the smart grids. A joint working group on standards for a smart grid was established to deal more intensively with establishing detailed recommendations to selected standardized body. To conclude, a smart grid is a great technology, but it is vulnerable to certain threats and attacks. But by taking precautions and proper security measures, these attacks can be prevented. Smart grid is evolving piece by piece, and once it's matured, it will bring great transformation in human life. Thank you.